The Eagles have been working on a master plan behind the scenes for years. The NFL just gave them the approval to pull the trigger. The question is, which pass rusher does Howie have his sights set on? Plus, one of the Eagles' Super Bowl heroes undergoes back surgery, and another coach is officially gone. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. When you hear people talk about the Eagles and Myles Garrett, it usually goes one of two ways. First, you have the trade for everybody group, who are ready to send whatever picks and money it takes to Cleveland to land the 29-year-old all-world edge rusher. They want the Eagles to add anybody and everybody to the already super team level defense in Philadelphia, and in a sentence they say, who cares what it takes, just make it happen. Although there's a second group that is the polar opposite. Whenever you mention Myles Garrett, they're very quick to point out that, oh, he costs way too much in draft capital. Plus, to even realize how much he would cost against the cap the next 3 years on his current deal, Philly only has about $20 million in cap space. They definitely can't afford him. Again, totally fair argument. But what if both groups are actually correct? What if Philadelphia could trade for Myles Garrett this offseason, or a player of equal value, stay under the cap, restructure his deal, and make everybody happy? And what if this whole plan has actually been years in the making, and the Eagles were simply waiting for the NFL's approval? Well, it actually turns out that approval just came down from the NFL. First, the two winners of the two Eagles Let's Hunt Super Bowl towels are officially Braylon Fortune 6022 and JW 1570, randomly selected, and to go ahead and claim it, all the details are down in my description. Send me an email and watch out for scammers. Oh, and we're almost at 90,000 subs, so I'm giving away this Zach Bond signed Eagles Super Bowl mini helmet to one subscriber once we get to 90,000 subs. So hit the red button and drop a like down below. Now, in order to understand how Myles Garrett and the Eagles actually work out, you first have to understand the NFL salary cap as a whole, as every NFL team is able to create their roster inside a set amount of money limit that they can spend. It's basically how they keep the league quote-unquote fair. And that salary cap number each year is determined by how much money the NFL actually makes. Most significantly, it's media right deals that the NFL renegotiates every couple of years. The last time a TV deal was redone in the NFL was back in 2021. Notably, the first year Jalen Hurts was a full-time starter in Philadelphia. Now, under that currently bargained 2021 salary cap, Philadelphia right now cannot afford Myles Garrett or really any of a bunch of other superstars currently signed on their teams, Maxx Crosby, for instance. But that's where Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie and the Birds' master plan comes in. Lurie has an extensive background in the film and TV industry, founding Chestnut Hill Productions back in 1985, which was a production company that would later win multiple Oscars and create a ton of TV commercials. In a nutshell, Lurie understands the TV industry, which, as Brett Coleman pointed out earlier this week on Twitter, is about to help the salary cap explode in the very near future due to, quote, new data directly from smart TV manufacturers to measure viewing habits in addition to the traditional at-home panel method. This means the NFL ratings in particular from Sunday Ticket on YouTube are going to be more accurately measured, and that number is going to be way bigger than you think because of just how many Gen Z and millennials consume football on streaming services. In simple terms, a lot more people have been watching the National Football League on streaming services than the NFL was really aware of, and once they go ahead and put those numbers together, they're going to find out that they have a lot more excess money the next time they renegotiate a TV deal, which just so happens to be, wait for it, in 2029. And that's where all this ties in, because Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman have clearly been looking towards 2029 as the year when everything changes. Don't believe me? Well, let's look at the Eagles' most polarizing contract of the past 5 years. It's their quarterback, Jalen Hurts' post-2022 $255 million a year deal. A deal that at the time was criticized as being way too big for a quarterback who had one really truly successful year under his belt, but was also praised by cap gurus as a quarterback deal that was very backloaded, aka team-friendly for right now. As one look at Jalen Hurts' contract reveals, from 2023 to year 2028, he's set to make less than $2 million a year in base salary, with very minimal cap hits, majority of his contract money coming from guaranteed bonuses. Here's the kicker. What year does all of that change and Jalen Hurts' cap hit go through the roof? You guessed it, 2029. The same year we just mentioned is going to be a brand new salary cap year that's going to go through the roof because of TV ratings. And the crazy part is, it's not just Jalen Hurts' deal. As Brett Coleman notes, the Eagles have about $216 million in dead cap slamming home from void years on 4 contracts all in 2029. Hurts, Dickerson, Mailata, Devontae Smith, another $53 million in dead cap from void years on Browns' deal in 2030. In essence, Philadelphia has been doing this with their superstar contracts for the better part of the past 5 years. Backloading contracts, making the cap very, very low the next couple of seasons. That way, when the cap actually rises in 2029, they can afford to pay those backloaded contracts. Oh, and don't forget that Jeffrey Lurie just a few months ago sold about an 8% non-controlling ownership stake in Philadelphia, kind of out of the blue, which pocketed him about, wait for it, $655 million in cash. Probably no reason for that, right? Okay, but how does this tie back into Myles Garrett? Well, Garrett wants a new team, right? He wants to play for a winner.
I was trying to, look out for, my best interests and, the future of my career. I think that's been, what it's always been the main purpose, the main goal. And I know there's some people in the Northeast Ohio that I'm disappointing, just know that I will always have love for that community. But just want to continue to press forward my career and achieve higher heights.
Well, how about playing for the most loaded roster in the entire National Football League, fresh off a Super Bowl win and still being paid the money that he deserves? Thomas, that sounds great, but as you know, the teams this year with the most cap space are all non-contenders. Patriots, Raiders, Cardinals, Bears, Vikings, I guess. Sure, maybe the Commanders and Chargers are up there, but are they truly a player away from winning a Super Bowl? I'd argue no.
I suspect the Washington Commanders are going to make the Cleveland Browns an offer that they can't refuse. We're talking multiple premium draft picks. We're talking a huge contract for Myles Garrett, making him the highest paid defensive player in league history. That's what we're going to see from Washington. It makes too much sense for it not to happen.
Which is why this is also crazy. Philadelphia has the ability to, right now, this offseason, in the next couple of weeks, trade for Myles Garrett. They would then restructure his deal to a league minimum yearly salary with huge bonuses annually and backload everything to 2029 when the salary cap rises, guaranteeing an incredibly low, team-friendly contract for the next 4 years and ensuring the near team success as a defensive line juggernaut, all while protecting their long-term cap security by footing the bills when the NFL gives them more money to pay when the cap rises again in 2029.
Money don't matter. You could bring anybody on your team.
An unlimited salary cap is off.
Honestly, that's what it be feeling like over here. I'll say Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett.
Oh my God.
Adding him with Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith.
And the best part is this does not just apply for Myles Garrett. You can apply this to a bevy of other superstar edge rushers this year and the next. How about, for instance, Maxx Crosby, who obviously is slightly younger, but equally as feared as a quarterback hunter in the league, but has been on a perennial loser with the Raiders in the NFL and is desperate to play in meaningful playoff snaps. Philadelphia could have Garrett or Crosby at whatever the certain draft price is, then restructure their contracts to fit under the Birds' long-term cap strategy, as explained earlier. Okay, Thomas, this all makes sense, but you technically need two to tango. What if the Browns or, say, the Raiders don't want to trade Crosby or Garrett? Well, that's definitely possible, but there's also another star edge rusher who just so happens to be a free agent next offseason. It's Micah Parsons, the Cowboys' closeted eagle-loving edge rusher. He's a free agent in 2026, and everything we just said about Garrett and Crosby can be applied next offseason to Micah Parsons, with the added benefit of not needing to actually trade draft capital for him. Now, it's true, this is all hypothetical. There's been no true hard-set rumors of Garrett or Crosby or even Micah Parsons in 2026, but the new league year is still weeks away. Philadelphia, wink, wink, cannot talk to these people or try to actually make a trade happen until after the new league year starts. Well, I'm not guaranteeing Philadelphia does any of these moves. I'm showing that it actually is possible when even myself thought it was not necessarily a realistic option even a couple of weeks ago. And let me just add in this. If you're not sold on the Eagles needing another edge rusher because Jalen Hunt and Nolan Smith are on a meteoric rise the past couple of months, totally agree. I get that. I've argued that exact point. The Birds don't technically need Garrett or Maxx Crosby. But once you understand how the money technically works, the idea of opposing offenses having to decide to block between Jalen Carter, Garrett, and say Nolan Smith or Jalen Hunt all on the same defensive line is an extremely scary thought indeed for a Super Bowl defending team like the Philadelphia Eagles. And when in the past 5 years has Howie Roseman taken his foot off the gas, right? Howie Roseman technically can enter this offseason going, let's just keep it the status quo. Let's keep it as it is. But I think he understands that if Philadelphia wants to continue to win, not just this year, not just the next year, but for many years to come, adding a superstar edge rusher is really the only big move Philadelphia could possibly make. And if he's actually able to pull it off under this whole contract cap rising disguise, it could be one of the biggest moves in NFL history. Now, hypothetical trades aside, some Eagle news that actually dropped today was the fact that Cam Jurgens officially underwent a back procedure earlier this week, according to Adam Schefter, to, quote, alleviate nerve pain. Doctors believe a full recovery is expected by July in time for training camp. Jurgens is headed into the final season of his rookie deal. Shout out to Cam Jurgens for not only playing in the second half of the NFC Championship game, but the entire Super Bowl with truly a very painful back injury. He gutted it out, had incredible performances, and I think we kind of overlooked that with the rest of the Eagles having really good plays as well. Shout out to Cam Jurgens. Hopefully you get better. We'll see you in July. Oh, side note, little money thing here. Cam Jurgens entering the final year of his rookie deal, how we can extend him early this offseason and save another $3.2 million against the cap. Just saying. We also got a pretty cool update from A.J. Brown himself on his viral Super Bowl Instagram post that many took Brown as saying he wasn't thrilled he won the Super Bowl. Although, as Brown explained just the other day on the Kick It With D podcast, he wasn't taking a shot at winning the Super Bowl. He was explaining that he loves the game and the grind a lot more.
Coming into this game, it's like, all right, we playing for the Lombardi Trophy, you know, and we all adopt that mindset when we first got into the league. This is what we're doing it for. And some players talk about it. And so I tried to adapt that feeling. Even watching people win Super Bowl, I'm like, oh, they happy, they celebrating. Then locker room drinking and stuff, doing all these things, and so I'm just like, okay, I'm I'm like, all right, that's how I supposed to feel. And I'm in the locker room, and after we win, like, bro, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do nothing. And I'm in the locker room with a bottle of Ace of Spade, trying to drink and
cigars and everything
with my teammates. And so, like, I'm smoking a cigar, like I'm trying to feel how it's supposed
to, how you pictured it, how the expectations,
yeah, you know what I'm saying, my expectations of it, and I was totally wrong. And I even sat down in the locker room for a second because I got tipsy because I don't drink. It didn't take me long.
Boy had one sip, was fucked up.
It didn't take me long, and so I was just like, man, this is cool, but I'm ready to go. I'm in the locker room, like this, I'm ready to go though.
Yeah.
So got back with my family and stuff, and celebrated with my family, which was cool. But it was just like, man, I really love the game.
Yeah.
And it ain't for attention, it ain't for money, it ain't for cars, clothes, and not even for that trophy. It's the daily grind and me putting in that time and me believing in something that can't nobody see but me.
Honestly, I love that from A.J. Brown. It's just further proof that the whole diva the media wanted us to believe in is actually just a stand-up guy who loves the game and wants to be as great as possible. Finally, happy trails to Eagles quarterback coach Doug Nussmeier, who was finally officially hired as the Saints' new offensive coordinator today, which is not a surprise. If you watched my show the past, week, I told you this was going to happen any day now, and, well, it's officially official. Great coach, love what he did in Philadelphia, best of luck going forward in New Orleans. Now, I am very curious your guys' thoughts on the whole Myles Garrett, Maxx Crosby, Micah Parsons cap situation. It's crazy that Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie has been planning all of this for a very long time. Will they actually be able to pull the trigger? That's the question that remains to be seen, but if they do, we'll cover it here on the channel with plenty more stuff happening as well. Hope you guys enjoy the show. We'll see you guys in the next one. I'm Thomas Mott. This has been The Thomas Mott Show.